Welcome to the Wolverine Digest podcast, the best spot for objective and authentic coverage of Michigan athletics. If you want open dialogue, honest opinions, and in-depth coverage of the maize and blue, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's your host, Brandon Brown, joined as always by Chris Breiler.
I just want to start by saying go blue.
We are so glad that you stayed up late with us tonight.
It's a late one. Well, over here it's a late one, Brandon.
Fade the music right out. This is the quiet storm.
Brandon forgot that there was a slight time discrepancy between the great state of Arizona and the great state of Michigan.
Well, so it did slip my mind while I was traveling to go to the press conference tonight, which would have overlapped anyway.
I sent him a text. Yeah. I'm like, dude. I sent him a text at like 6:30. I'm like, dude, you ready? Are you ready for the show? You ready to go live? He's like, yeah. We got plenty of time. I'm like, not
just
really.
Driving around 4:30 on the clock. I'm good, dude. I got 2.5 hours, bro. Calm down.
4:30 on the clock. Wait, no, on the dot.
So anyway, I mean, like I said, it was. I did it again when I got home. I called home to talk to my son. I'm like, he's been in bed for like an hour and a half. Like, what am I doing here? What am I doing out here?
So, in your own little world out there, man. It's mid-60s and balmy, you said. The sun is shining, and we're here freezing our ass off, man. It's, well, you got a little bit of it before you left.
Oh, I got plenty of it before I left. And so now, now I'm here. My buddy Gary has graciously opened up his house for me. So the first few days I'm staying here, and then the 29th, Chris and I, are you coming in the 29th or the 30th?
I'm coming in the 30th. I got a Christmas party on the 28th. I planned on time, went on, getting hammered. Didn't want to hop on an early flight, hungover. So I figured I'd give myself a 1-day buffer zone and then hop on the flight on the 30th.
So the 29th, I will be over checking in at the media hotel. I'm actually going to be there quite a bit for the next few days because the media press conferences are there. Tomorrow we get the coordinators and some players, and then the next day it flips. We get a couple behind the scenes peeks at the practice. 15 minutes.
You get to see practice, Brandon?
15 minutes of practice.
Wait a minute. You're a credentialed member of the media.
I know.
You can't see that shit.
Well, when Michigan's not making the call, apparently we can.
Just don't bring your notepad, okay?
Yeah, so that's how that goes. But so I'm in this casita. For anybody who's familiar with the verbiage here out in Arizona, it's like my own little guest house, dude. It's glorious in here.
There you go.
Got the Murphy bed behind me. This bad boy dropped right down, dude. I mean, it's living like a king over here. But dude,
all the privacy a young man could want. And
you haven't been out here yet. I know you can go online and you can check it out, dude. This media hotel is baller. Like, it's the dopest place I've ever been. I went there today, took my credentials, got a little playoff swag there. And then
make sure they save your boy a large.
They run a little small.
Wow.
You're gonna throw on that medium real quick. All right, Chris is gonna throw on this medium. But yeah, the hotel looks incredible. I'm excited to be over there. Chris, we forgot about this.
No.
Hospitality room, dude. Open bar.
Oh, goodness. See, it's good. Yeah. I'm only coming in, a day beforehand. Look, from everything I've seen, though, and I wonder if it's the result of all the weather that happened, as Christmas was coming through. But I've seen there were several people that were having issues getting flights out to Arizona.
I heard that, yeah,
through various airlines. And so, I mean, dude, my entire weekend rests on the competency and capability of Spirit Airlines.
I was just going to say,
I'm hoping they come through.
I was just going to say, when you choose to be a member of the Spirit of the Skies, no problems, dude. Smooth sailing for your boy today on a Spirit flight.
Love it.
While I'm hearing about all these people hung up, can't make it, I got to be honest with you. I I have a little bit of anxiety when I fly. I think we've talked about this. You do too, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And today was the first, I know it's not the very first time, but today, because it was so damn cold the last handful of days and this morning, the whole de-icing procedure, I was a little concerned about it. I mean, they had these big machines out there. They are just hosing the planes down. I'm like, dude, are we good? Are we good? Does Spirit even know what's happening right now? They're just gonna let's just launch it.
I question that whole process. I mean, the way that the wings are held on there, all the rivets, it seems like so much could go wrong, and it rarely
duct
does.
tape and bubble gum, dude. It does. I mean, those things they're made to cruise, dude, and that's what we did. Hey, AJ, thanks for the donation, man. Yeah, obviously the time change, the arrival of the team tonight, there was not like an impromptu press conference, but we'll get into that. Jim Harbaugh and 3 players spoke right out on the tarmac, dude. Pretty cool. The press conference itself wasn't very cool, but the event was. There's a ton of fans out there. Yeah. They kind of formed, the double line for the players to come off and high five as they come down.
But much like it is when you and I get off the plane.
Pretty much the same thing. Pretty much the same thing. But no, so that was pretty cool. And yes, CJ, open bar every day starting at 4:00 until the night winds down.
The last time we were at the college, and we talked about this before on the last show, but there wasn't an open bar at the hotel, to my knowledge, the last time we were at the college football playoff.
There was. It wasn't as good as this one, apparently.
Okay, because I was going to say, you were already barefoot walking the hotel in the middle of the night looking for lunch meat, so who knows how it's going to go down this time.
That was after we got back from a night out. I mean, it's good times are meant to be had out here. Was
that before or after the game? I can't imagine we got
before. Yeah, we left pretty much like right after the next day when the game was over. So yeah, excited about that. The players and the coaches arrived today. It was cool, man. They did a pretty heavy duty, legitimate clearance check, security, all that, and then we walked right out onto the tarmac. I mean, you saw the plane come in and land. Turn around, taxi over by us.
On social media, everybody was excited to see that plane land.
Taxi over by us, and Coach Harbaugh is the first one out. He's waving like he's President Nixon out there, just living the dream. Really cool. Like I started to think about it, like I just grabbed a president. Now, didn't he do this one? Maybe not the best president to go with.
I think after he got impeached, he did
that. Yeah. Anyway. You think about the holiday season. Obviously, Christmas just passed us, New Year's coming up, and dude, all the coaches and their families, their wives, their kids coming down those steps. Everybody, the hundreds of Michigan fans out there cheering, a bunch of bowl committee people, a handful of the media. It was a pretty cool little scene. They walk in, Jim Harbaugh, Donovan Edwards, Mike Barrett, and Rod Moore take the podium. Pretty bland. I mean, you know where I stand on press conferences anyway. Imagine what the press conference is like when they get off a 4-hour flight. They walk into a tent while the rest of the team is getting on the buses ready to leave and go to the team hotel. I mean, you get the idea. I'm going to put it up in its entirety. People can check it out and watch it. I mean, like, it was fine. There were some questions being asked, and the guys did a pretty good job of talking about some different stuff. Thought Donovan Edwards gave a really good answer about what makes this team special. And Donovan's not the most outspoken. Like, if you put 3 of those dudes up there and said, okay, you can talk if you want to, I think a lot of times he would kind of just be like, I'm good. He's just not really that way. He gave a really long-winded answer and just said a lot of really good stuff about the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the way they fight for each other. They all want to push each other. They all want to get better. They don't care who it is that gets the glory. They don't care who it is that's the big man on campus that weekend. They just want to get better and win games. And that sounds cliche, but it's clearly happened the last 2 years. I mean, I think the cliche goes away when the results are what they are. So I thought that was a good answer. Jim Harbaugh said some good stuff about J.J. McCarthy. Chris, I know you saw a little bit of it, but what would your mindset be coming off a 4.5-hour flight, walk right up to the podium while you're just trying to get to your hotel? But I mean,
I'm trying to get somewhere where I can take my pants off, lay back, relax, watch a little TV.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I know that you're sitting the whole time. You're not really doing a lot of work, but when you got to fly across country like that, and anybody that's done it, it takes a lot out of you. And the last thing I want to do is spend, whether it's 30, 40 minutes talking to, a bunch of dinks in the media and
that you see every day anyway.
It's the last thing I want to do, Brandon.
So they come off the airplane. There's me, there's Zook, there's McMahon, there's Hole, there's Shaw. They're like, Jesus, these guys here already? Leave us alone. But there was I see somebody asking, the people in the gold jackets were the Fiesta Bowl committee, region, reps, whatever you want to call them. They were awesome, by the way. Yeah, they were amazing to us. Like, gave us a very good breakdown of what to expect, exactly how things were going to go, where we could be, where we could sit, how many it was good. And then Yeah, that was pretty much it. Then they piled out of there, got on their team buses, and away they went. And back here I come to do the podcast tonight, and it just feels, dude, now that they're here, Coach Harbaugh's up there talking about Max Duggan. He's up there talking about the TCU team speed. He's up there talking about what they think they can do on it just felt more like it's game week. It's game week now. We're back to the normal schedule. Obviously, it's weird being out here in Arizona, and there's a bunch of bowl week stuff going on, but we got the team. We're going to see him in action a little bit, and then, dude, in 5 or 6 days, we're going to see him on the field, and I can't freaking wait. I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, I keep going back to it. Feels like this stretch between the Big Ten championship and this game against TCU, it feels like it's taken forever. But then the only way that I make peace with myself is I'm, well, imagine what it's like to be a Michigan State Spartan. Like, you literally have to wait like 300 more days before you get to see your team play football, which maybe is a good thing over there. Well, but yeah, man, I'm excited for this week to, got a couple things to take care of here on the home front, and then hop the flight, get out there to Arizona. And then, as you saw today, I don't know if we told the folks out there, but your boys are already approved. The credentials are already approved for the national championship game. So we're already making plans for LA. We're expecting a win. We're expecting a win on Saturday. And yeah, man, how cool is it that 2 years in a row we get to do this? We get to be, a part of this whole spectacle, the college football playoff. We get to be there, see it in person. Again, I say it all the time, but just couldn't feel more fortunate to be in the position that we're in.
Cool is not a strong enough word. It's been incredible, remarkable, special, like magic. I mean, last year felt that way. This year expectations were really high, but I don't know. Did a lot of people say like they're going back to the playoff? I mean, like there were probably some people saying that. Certainly looked possible. Favored in the first 11.
Gave a lot of people,
that was it.
That was looked at that one and you said, that's gonna be a tough one. And then lo and behold, it was another ass whooping.
Yeah, so it's been awesome. Back to CJ. Correct. The 5-minute rule is no more because this is not Michigan's jurisdiction. This is the bowl game. They set all the media stuff. They control all of that. So I don't actually know how long it was. It wasn't very long, but I'm going to put up the whole thing and you guys can check it out. That'll be up either tonight. It's late. I do realize that back Michigan, it's late. So I don't know if it'll be tonight.
You want to know what? It is late, but I do have an audience of one down here. My son demanded, he's literally sitting here. He wanted to sit down here in the basement. He called this like a 5-star seat for the show. So he's front row getting to experience the boys in the podcast,
nice.
Front and center here, man. He wanted to be a part of it. Up way past your bedtime. Way past your bedtime, like an hour and a half past your bedtime.
Almost 10 o'clock for the little homie over there, man.
It's Christmas break.
He's geeked up, dude. He's ready to go.
He's excited.
We're all ready. Yeah, so like I said, I think a couple things that stood out at the press conference, which again was pretty vanilla. We've talked about it before. I just wonder, Chris, like where your head is, if you're the head coach or you're Jesse Minter or you're Mike Barrett who's sitting up there or you're Rod Moore, and a direct question is asked about Max Duggan. What do you do with him? How does he worry you? Where's the threat? What exactly do you try to do with a guy like that? Tons and tons of experience, athletic, can make plays with his legs, bigger body, has a great arm, lots of speed on the outside. If you're the DC, if you're asked that question, what's your plan to slow down Max Duggan? You say what?
I say hit him hard, hit him early, get him rattled, get him off his game. Make especially with guys that are built tough like that and will do pretty much. And we saw this in their conference championship game against Kansas State. We'll do whatever it takes to win. Put his body on the line.
Yeah,
I think you've got to get him second guessing himself early. And I think the Michigan defense, the edge rushers, the guys up front, I think that they can provide enough pressure and. It was the same game plan with CJ Stroud. Get him rattled a little bit. Get him thinking twice. Put him on his ass a few times early. And then once you can do that, even if the game plan doesn't change, you start to see ghosts out there. You start to see things that aren't there, and you start to, maybe force him to make some mistakes early. And then again, with the way that the Michigan defense has played throughout the course of the year in the second half, if Michigan can build a solid lead in the first half, I think it's going to be all gravy in the second half. I don't see this being a 4-quarter game. And I think that the way that they get to that is you just You make things difficult on him early. You do not let him settle in. Do not let him get comfortable, because if he does, we've seen it. He's got the experience and the talent and the license to do whatever he needs to do with the ball to move it down the field. He's shown that he can do that. I mean, he came second in the Heisman voting for a reason. The guy's a legit baller, and if Michigan allows him to, he'll give him fits.
Yeah, I put words in your mouth a little bit here, but I'm pretty sure you would agree. Like, he's not going to fold up like CJ Stroud did.
No,
He's not going to be. Yeah, I mean, you got to hit him. You got to make him think twice about what he's doing and pay attention. But like,
he's a redhead, so we've already established they don't have soul. I don't even know if he feels pain. Do they feel pain?
No, I'm pretty sure they don't.
That's probably part of the game plan. Number one, redheads don't feel pain. Keep that in mind. Number two,
beware. Beware. Yeah, I mean, he would. I think he would die out on the field if that's what
and then he'd come back as a zombie and start breaking off 15-yard runs. That's what they do.
So I agree with you. I do wonder. I wonder what he looks like and how he stands up to that. Nick, thank you for the donation. Kind of the same type of deal. Yeah, the physicality does travel. I've said that all year. You know, Michigan's O-line, the running game, that defense. You know, pounding the other quarterback when you can, whether it's hits on the quarterback, sacks, it doesn't really matter. Getting in his head, rattle him a little bit, like Chris said. But I'll give Max Duggan all the credit in the world. He's going to come back every single play. He's going to take another snap. He's going to try to make another play. You're not going to see the body language, the shaking of the head, the stuff we saw from Coleridge over there in Columbus. You're not going to see that from one Maxwell Duggan IV. I don't know if I made that up. That's not his name, but it sounded good, didn't it?
It did sound good, but the thing is, the thing that Duggan doesn't have that Stroud did have was a ton of weapons everywhere and a ton of talent everywhere. And I know TCU has some guys; they have some dudes, but they don't have
really Maxwell. How about that?
Yeah, they don't have the kind of offensive firepower that Ohio State had. And so, somebody had asked earlier in the show, like, what's the confidence level heading into this weekend? And I don't know if it's cockiness, if I'm just taking TCU too lightly. Granted, I haven't watched every single TCU game this year. I did watch the game against Kansas State, and Michigan is considerably better than Kansas State. And the way that you watch Michigan play, we've talked about it all year long. That brand of football just travels. It works wherever you go. Like, I think you used the comparison a couple of times. They're like a sumo wrestler. They just lean on you until you get so tired of taking all the weight that you give in. And by the second half, you're just a punching bag at that point. And I think that's, TCU on the offensive side has not seen a defense like Michigan. On the defensive side, they have not seen an offensive line like what they're going to see from the Michigan Wolverines. It's going to be a physical day. And I just don't know that they're ready for it. I think mentally they think they're ready for it, but physically I think it's going to be a wake-up call pretty early.
Nick, thanks again. I mean, I don't know if forcing Duggan to run is necessarily what they want, because that's hard to game plan for. Quarterback breaking the pocket, just getting out there. That's off script. You kind of lose your job a little bit. When you're talking like a zone read, the quarterback is somebody's assignment right there. Now, he's probably going to be somebody's assignment on every play. But if you're talking about a true passing, true drop back, and then he breaks outside of the pocket, I don't know if that's what you want. Although that would result in him taking more hits. So we'll see what it looks like. I'm curious.
I guess I haven't thought about it this way, and I guess when you put it in these terms, you're not counting the Big Ten championship as part of that. But Malachi says Harbaugh hasn't won a postseason game since 2015. Time to get that monkey off the back. And I mean, in terms of bowl games, I guess that's the Ohio State thing was lingering out there, never being able to make it to Indy. But, Malachi's right. He won the bowl game his first year. What was it? The Citrus Bowl?
Yeah.
I know Citrus Bowl, and then have not won a bowl game since. Is that correct? That seems crazy to me.
I kind of feel like the conference championship game falls into that category,
yeah, but not when you're playing the Big Ten West. Come on.
Yeah, and it's not a bowl. It's not a postseason bowl game. So that's interesting. Yeah, TCU's wide receiver group is fast. Johnson, the potential first or second rounder,
right?
Call him a pterodactyl. He's about 6'5", can absolutely fly.
Nickname, by the way.
It is. It's a fantastic nickname, and he can get it done, man. I mean, that's a hard matchup. I would assume we'll see Will Johnson on him a lot. Good size at 6'3" himself. He acquitted himself very well against Marvin Harrison, who everybody thinks is better than Johnson. So, we'll see what that battle ends up looking like. But Duggan knows how to get the ball to his guys. Johnson knows how to make plays down the field. So, yeah, I found it interesting when they were talking. Sonny Dykes and TCU got here before Christmas. I think it was Christmas Eve. So they've already talked a little bit and got up on the microphone. And I wanted to grab Sonny Dykes and be like, do you think it's still 2005? He's like, yeah, Michigan, big physical. We got this team speed over here. I'm like, bro, they're just as fast as you. I got news for you. This is not 2001 anymore. This is not 3 yards in a cloud of dust. They have got plenty of guys who can run in that winged helmet. And if that's what they think their advantage is, I think they're sorely mistaken. I mean, I pick any guy you want on Michigan's team in the skill department and have them run. They can run with anybody. They can run
Donovan
with
Edwards,
anybody.
Roman Wilson, AJ Henning. I mean, all these guys. I mean, they have that in spades. It's just a matter of how are they going to use it. But yeah, this is not the the big shoulder pad era of kind of bully your way. Now Michigan, they do bully you up front, but make no mistake, they've got speed everywhere at the skill position, and so.
Dude, Mike Sainristil still can run. DJ Turner can fly. Will Johnson can run. Dude, Bakari Page can run for 6'4". I'm just like, has he watched them? I'm like, I don't know. Mike Barrett, can run for a linebacker. They've got speed all over their defense, and even more on offense. I think their offense is one of the fastest in the Big Ten. Yeah. You can put them up against a lot of teams across the board. I don't know. I don't watch TCU and think like, God, they're so fast. They're going to be hard to handle. I just don't see that. They've got some fast guys. Everybody in the country's got fast guys.
The only thing that gives me a bit of concern is if they go tempo early. And we've seen that Michigan can struggle with that, especially after you take a month off from playing football. If you get lined up against a team that's going to go tempo early, depending on what decisions you made for Christmas and the days surrounding it. If you did like your boy, you might have put on a few pounds. You might have overate here and there. You might find yourself feeling a little bit sluggish. But if TCU goes tempo early, that's the only thing that makes me even the slightest bit nervous. Like I said, I don't feel a lot of concern about this game. Obviously, TCU is good enough to make the college football playoff, not good enough to win the conference championship, but it didn't matter. I feel like a broken record across the board, offense, defense. Michigan just holds the advantage at every single position.
The thing about tempo is it really only works after positive plays. And Michigan doesn't give up a lot of those.
You go three and out quick, doesn't do anything for you.
Tackle for loss or a hit on the quarterback or an incomplete pass or I guess minimal gains. Whenever you move the ball forward and the offense is moving up, you get into your formation, you get going. It doesn't have to be a big play, but I mean, it jumped up once in a while against Michigan this year, but their defense is so sound that they just don't get into those positions very often. So
I read an interesting stat earlier today. And in the 13 games this season, the opponent, Michigan's opponent, first, second half possession has resulted in a 3-and-out 12 times.
Wow.
There you go. That speaks to, so again, tempo, to your point, Brandon, it only works if you're able to convert, if you're able to move the ball. If you're not able to move the ball and you're going tempo, you're really, really putting yourself in a bad position. So it's going to be interesting to see, what TCU's game plan is. I know that Dykes had mentioned, defensively, kind of sounded a lot like what we heard coming out of Columbus going into that game, where we got to shut down the run. We got to make the quarterback beat us. And we know that, he
good luck, bro.
JJ McCarthy. He said, we know he's good enough. He's capable enough, but it seems like they're going in with a similar game plan as what they did in Columbus. And quite frankly, that just did not work.
Yeah. And I think JJ is, he's turned a corner now. He's no longer like a young figuring it out kind of starter. I mean, you're talking 12, 13 games under his belt, this stage, the way he's prepared for it, the way he played against Ohio State, timely throws coming along a little bit more. There's no holding back at this point. So if they need to run him more, I fully expect them to do that. I mean, all that stuff is now on the table. I'm
playing for a shot to go to the national championship. There's nothing to hold back now.
Right. I mean, this is it, dude. You go get it by any means necessary. And he's wired that way, dude.
And
He's
out of
built
any
for that.
team you could have played, let's be honest, Georgia or Ohio State or TCU.
Well, yeah,
you're taking TCU every day of the week. And so if you're Michigan, you couldn't find yourself in a better position to advance to the national championship game. I think you got to sell out on everything, whatever it takes to get it done.
Yeah, I just think across the board, I just think Michigan's the better team. That's why the spread in the 2-3 game is supposed to be the tight one, and that's the big one here. Ohio State, Georgia, I think I don't know what it's at now. It was down to 5 or 6, maybe something like that. Michigan's still hovering around 7, 8, 9, something. It's moved a little bit. But anyway, yeah, the 2-3, those are supposed, the 1-4, the 1 is supposed to get the easier matchup, and they didn't. Georgia and Ohio, that is not a draw that Georgia wants. They would have much rather had TCU as well. But they're a good team. I'm not disparaging TCU. They were undefeated going into that last game. They beat Kansas State once. It's hard to beat a good team twice. And they didn't. They didn't in the Big 12 championship game. It was close. Obviously, we talked about that too, giving Max Duggan or not giving Max Duggan a chance at the goal line. But anyway, I'm just so excited to be here. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this, Chris, getting off the rails just a hair. Flight etiquette today. So I'm in the middle seat, 16E. Rather portly gentleman was on my left-hand side. It was early, everybody on that flight.
That middle seat.
Everybody got to that flight I got to the airport at about 3 a.m, probably, for that 5-something flight. And that's your big boy. He was out cold, spread eagle, spilling over the seat, dude, all over me. So because of that, there was a rather petite gentleman on my right. I'm not a small guy. I'm leaning over and piling onto him because Hefty McGee is like, I'm just like, dude, and he's asleep. Like, I'm trying to give him the business. I'm trying to shove the leg back over.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's out. I just want, I'm not a confrontational person. I'm not going to wake the dude up and be like, bro, you got to figure this out. So I'm trying to do it like politely, gently, passively. It wasn't happening. I downloaded 3 movies and 2 episodes to watch on the plane. For whatever reason, they didn't work. It sucked. 4.5 hours of just dinking around with that big old dude laying across me. Other guys sleeping like a baby up against the wall. Middle seat, dude, for the birds.
And the middle seat on Spirit is even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever little leg room you have on like any ordinary flight, you don't get that on Spirit.
Misconception. There is actually a pretty good amount of leg room on Spirit flights because the seats are about this big and they're uncomfortable as shit and they don't lean back.
Also that, sure.
Yeah.
Make the seats smaller. Yeah. Listen, whatever it is, I never feel comfortable. I never feel comfortable. That's why I went in and paid the extra fee just so I could get myself in a certain position to avoid things like that.
I wish I would have today.
I'm too claustrophobic for that.
We've heard about these situations with you. Dude, you would have been in rare form today.
I'd freak out. There wouldn't have been enough medication to keep me calm. I would have demanded another seat.
I was sharing the dude's jeans. I mean, like, we were wearing his clothes together today. Nice big tattered blue Adidas pullover and some jeans that should have been put out to pasture long ago. It was not a fun trip, dude. Only got up with about 18 minutes left in the flight because he was out cold the whole time. I'm like,
that flight probably just flew by for that guy. No pun intended.
Oh, he was fine. He was living the dream. Yeah. Good. He probably got to his family. He was like, there's such a nice guy sitting next to me on the plane.
Let me use him as a pillow.
Yeah. But good flight overall on the way here, and I'm happy to be in Arizona, and I'm pumped, dude. I got to admit, Chris, I got to air out a little dirty laundry.
Oh no.
I know it's family obligation. I'm bummed you're only going to be here for like a day. We will get not many chances to go in.
I know. But
I get it. Christmas party, family.
Listen, there is a Christmas party that I have an obligation to be at, and I'm also already planning for the national championship
for the LA trip. Okay,
that's going to be extended. The LA trip is going to be extended. I couldn't really justify. I mean, shit. We were talking about potentially. There was a point in time where you and I were talking about potentially driving out like 26 hours and being away from home for like 3 weeks straight.
Yeah.
So, decisions had to be made. And I think Glendale's nice, LA's nice, but if I'm really going to go out and do it big, I'm trying to do it for the Natty. So
that is the plan. Michigan needs to take care of business on Saturday first in order to enact that plan. I'm pretty pumped, dude. I forgot. I again only covered one bowl game before when I was covering recruiting in the past, and when I was, I just never. It wasn't part of my job description, and it's not cheap. I mean, the other job, where I was before, there was a little bit more of a, the boss took care of stuff like that, but that was also part of it. He wasn't sending 9 guys out there. He'd send the minimum, and I wasn't.
Can we make that clear? Like, listen, Sports Illustrated, they're not paying for shit. They're not paying for these trips.
No.
I mean, this is all out of pocket expenditure here for you boys.
It doesn't work that way because of the way that the payment scale is set up. So Chris and I are basically independent contractors. The site kills it. We do well, but then it's because we have to pay for our own shit. We got to pay for the flight. We got to pay for the hotel. That's why I decided to stay a couple days at my buddy's house.
And anybody who tried to book their trip out to Arizona for this found out pretty quickly that there was no real cheap way to do it.
So anyway, I'm excited for this week. I had forgotten about the hospitality room, and this hotel is a spot. And I'm excited to get back over there tomorrow. Just to kind of keep everybody in the loop. I don't know. We're not really supposed to like publicly distribute this, but I don't care. Was that on a website? I already lost it. I'll go back to it. So tomorrow we get, I don't remember if it's offense or defense, but we do get the coordinators and 3 or 4 players. The next day it switches. We've got some practices built in there. So yeah, it'll be a full week of activities done pretty early in the day, which is nice. They crank all those opportunities to us. We gather it all. And then the second half of the day is used for turning stuff into content. So that's kind of what you guys can expect at Wolverine Digest for the next couple days. And certainly we'll be back on Wednesday. We'll figure out the timing of everything. Now that I know that I am in Arizona and it's not the same time here as it is back home. Got that figured out, I think, at this point. What's tomorrow? Tuesday? So at 9:15, we get Michigan's offense. So we will get, I don't know if it says just one, but I don't know if we'll see if we'll get Sharon Moore or Matt Weiss, and then 5 offensive Michigan players for a total of 45 minutes. I'm not sure if that's like, tables spread out and you can just go to whoever you want, or if it's like come up to the podium. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, should be some really good opportunities for some good content over the next 4 or 5 days, and then culminating with the game at 4:00 Eastern time. Right?
2:00 for us, yeah, which is a strange time to kick off.
Wait, is it 2:00 back home, Michigan?
No, it's 4 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, 2 because we're going to be out here. Yes,
we're going to be out there. Yeah. Speaking of good content, I do want to mention the good folks at the Camera Mall in Ann Arbor.
Ooh.
Listen, I don't know if I didn't have all the equipment when I first started, and so I had to rent a lot of shit. I had to try to figure some stuff out. The Camera Mall in Ann Arbor is a perfect place if you're an aspiring photographer, creative, you want to learn some things, you can rent some equipment, because I didn't realize how expensive this shit is. Long story short.
Do you have it handy?
I don't have it handy. It's upstairs. I've got it charging, but long story.
Oh, damn, I was
long story short, I gave them a call and kind of explained to them who I was and what we were doing and what we're all about. And they have graciously allowed me to use the Z9 Nikon, which is like the top of the line, like Ferrari Nikon camera that's just come out recently. I've been upstairs playing with it a little bit. Like it takes 120 frames per second. It sounds like a machine gun going off. But Brandon's been talking about great content that we're going to bring you. The folks over at the Camera Mall have hooked me up with this camera, and I'm really hoping to capture some great shots that'll be, exclusive to the content that we put out. So I'm also very, very excited about that and that partnership.
Can't wait. Can't wait to see.
It's crazy.
Able to mow down with that bad boy, but
just mowing.
Why are they talking about flight accommodations and not Donovan Edwards' thumb in hand? Did Donovan Edwards not do good enough against Ohio State and Purdue? He's good. Cast, no cast. arm in a sling.
What do you want to know about it? What do you want to know about his thumb and hand? There's an issue there. He's going to have some shit wrapped on it, and he's still going to be fine. Did he look fine during Ohio State? Yes. Did he look fine against Purdue in the Big Ten championship? Yes. So what are we talking about here?
He did. I'm being a little bit ornery there, Desmond, but they didn't talk about it. He's up there. He didn't. It's not like he walked in like in traction, like wheeling an IV and like.
In Michigan does not. Have you ever asked Jim Harbaugh about an injury and gotten an like? These are just things they don't discuss. It's not going to have any impact on Donovan's ability to be a real big problem.
Here's another. Chris is a Nikon, Android. Fila, I don't know.
Fila.
Dude, I saw a killer pair of Filas at the airport.
Fila's coming back.
Someone had the Grant Hills on.
The old Grant Hills, yeah. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could go there. But I like Nikon. I love Nikon.
But no.
Every single picture that I put up, every video that I've done this year, that's all shot on a pretty entry-level Nikon camera with a really kick-ass lens. And so, yeah, I'm excited to check out this Z9 and see what it's all about. And once again, appreciate the camera mall for hooking that up.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a cool thing. I've dealt with them a little bit too. I rented something when we went to Mackinac just to I was for a while there when it looked like maybe we were both going to be down on the field this year. I was like, well, maybe I need to invest in a camera. So I went in there. They hooked me up too. Nice people there. They always. Chris, do you want to let people into your world a little bit when the guy was asking you different questions and you just said you felt like an absolute?
You're talking about today?
Yeah.
He's like, what are you shooting? Is it JPEG? Is it RAW? Is it this? Is it that? I'm like, listen, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. All I know is I need the card thingy to put in there so that the pictures, I can get the pictures off the camera. And it turns out, listen, this shit is ridiculous. The card, just the little SD card that stores all the information was like over $200. So, the donations really help.
Donation.
To Muth 1997, I am using it's the 100 to 400 Nikkor lens, it gives me just enough range to be able to work with when they get close, when they're across the field. When you get to the 600, it's a little bit too cumbersome.
That's what I always say. Amen, Muth. You need to shoot raw.
Bang bang.
That's my motto. That's how it goes. All right, there it is. Little quick 40-minute piece. Thanks for everybody tuning in on a late night. We're going to figure out what Wednesday needs to look like, whether it's a 5 o'clock show for me out here. Maybe we meet somewhere in the middle. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we will be a little bit more tuned in on Wednesday and not have anything going on at 6, 7 o'clock at night. So bring your questions. We are going to do burning questions in conjunction with Fan-Led Wednesday on Wednesday. It's just going to be a glorious night. Are we trying to get a guest appearance? Are we getting a cameo real quick?
We might get a cameo here. Look, the kid has sat down here for 40 minutes. Appreciate you, son. He called it a 5-star seat. I had to give him a little cameo here.
I love it. All right, guys. Again, thank you for tuning in tonight. We will be back on Wednesday. I know. Tony, I'm sorry. Only 40 minutes, but I got to go get some food in me. It's still a weird day out here.
It's 10:15. I got to get my kid to bed.
Yeah. And I will have some stuff up either tonight or tomorrow morning to kind of launch us into the rest of the week. So
and listen, are we going to be back on our regular schedule, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday? Is that correct?
Well, that's what I just said. I think we can do that. We should be able to. I think I'll be done with everything I need to be done with by, in time. But we're kind of at the mercy of whatever they've got going out here for bowl stuff.
Just keep us abreast of the situation.
That's right. It'll be a little bit more organized on Wednesday. I'm still, I had a big guy throwing his legs on me. I was, just trying to figure it out. All right. Take care, everybody. We'll be back on Wednesday.